I don't wanna go to work, I just wanna chill and play all day. Look 'em dead in the face and say, I wish I could just be still asleep while you work.
Welcome to the Jobs Blow podcast with Brianna and Josh.
The podcast for dreamers with day jobs.
We are back for another episode here at Comic Strip Live in New York City. We got an awesome guest today. I'm super excited to be here. Super excited to see you.
Obviously, because I feel much better.
Yeah, because you look like a normal shade of human skin.
How'd your husband look?
He can't get over the name of it already. Why do we do this? Why do we do this podcast, Brianna?
Well, it was born out of our day job frustrations, but we're here to inspire people who are chasing their dreams.
I love it.
As we chase our own.
Oh, I'm chasing it.
Chasing
Are you
it.
chasing? I feel good today. It's good. It's spring. We got great things going on. How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, no, I had a good weekend.
Tell me.
I saw Avengers, and now that spoilers have been lifted, have you seen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess we can't talk about
I
it.
don't really care about that movie.
Okay. Well, but I cried a lot in that movie. I mean,
did too.
Yes, I know you had mentioned that.
And then Spider-Man trailer came out. There's just so much going on.
I know. It's marvelous.
I know. And you're wearing, I love this shirt, by the way, the shoulder cutout shirt thing that you wear, or that ladies are wearing. It's very popular
I dress
now.
for you.
You do dress for me, and I really
this.
appreciate that. I wish guys had something like that. Just show off the shoulders. I don't need to show off the full try, just the shoulder.
Yeah,
that
but I
work.
think there might be hair up there, and
There is
nobody
a lot
wants
of
to
hair.
see that.
You're right.
Nobody wants
I am
to
a
see
hairy
hairy
person.
shoulders.
I had a good week too. Thanks for asking.
Well, I didn't get to it, but Josh, how was your week?
Oh my God, it was so great. I've been spending a lot of time with my little guy, and he's just like talking so much. I had an interesting thing happen at work this week at the show that I'm in. You know, sometimes you have like butt heads with people, or there's like tension, and you don't know how to deal with it. And he can kind of be like a big, you know, just like a dick, you know, but like in a passive aggressive way. So I went out on stage and I just like threw some one-liners at him, just like to kind of break him down a little bit, and he like was hysterical, texting me all night. Thank you so much. I was like, did I just like totally enter the twilight zone of like how to
Did
make
you
up?
handle a relationship?
Yeah.
Like a responsible adult?
Yeah, that's what it was a responsible adult handling. I could have been like a little bitch about it. I'm glad I wasn't, but that's what happened. That was my big news for the week.
That's big
I
news.
love you, bro. Out there. Okay, so let's get to the guest, because we have an awesome guest this week, and we still, like normal, cannot agree on a title. What did you want the title to be?
I don't know. I had a couple.
Give me the one we talked about before.
Which one?
The one about Full Circle.
Oh, well, Full Circle.
Full
What's the
Circle's
title?
a great one. I like something like Going Over and Above and New York Undercover with a working actor, but
That's a really long title.
It's long, but that's who he is.
The fuck was that? Was that even a title? I thought that was a fucking monologue.
Decision has been made.
I love when the guests take my side.
Well, let's do that. Let's introduce our guest. You know him. He is an actor in Hollywood for decades now. He's been on New York Undercover. He was on The Last OG, Empire, Alphas, Designated Survivor, Arrested Development, Bull. His famous film, Cool Runnings, that we all love, Copland, which I love, I want to talk about. And now back again, full circle to New York Undercover. Ladies and gentlemen, Malik Yoba.
Woo! Well, and Josh, you know Malik from...
I do. From some years ago, Malik was involved with something called the IFNY.
Not involved. Let's get it right, brother.
Okay. Malik was the creative mind behind...
Co-creator and
inspiration.
Producer
and owner.
host. And
and mentor.
right. See, it's very different than just being involved with. This is important for your listener to understand the level of involvement, sir.
I agree. You wouldn't just say you're involved with your wife, man. You're
Right.
putting in the work.
It was...
That's what he calls it? Hey, work.
Hi, how are you, work? What's for dinner? Yeah, all of it. Creator and motivator.
Co-creator.
And
Because
with
Atticus
Attica.
Turns was my partner on that.
Yeah. And it was actually, I felt the team atmosphere from the beginning. They were very just helping us collaborate and come up with these ideas. What it was a monologue competition at first. I was one of the first contestants.
He was genius.
Thank you.
He won.
I won the battle of the best. I lost the first one.
But that was, in my mind, you won.
Yeah.
I was like...
Isn't Battle of the Best the one you want to win?
You know, the audience judge. I was like, they don't know what they're talking about. This guy, he won.
Thanks. it was it was an opportunity to really just open up, my creative juices, and we did monologues and characters and accents, and it was just so much fun. And then I did it again. I did it 2 or 3 times, I think, and
It's
Malik
always
was
good.
there,
Very.
that's how we met.
Yeah, you got a chance to, sometimes the audience would throw out an idea, like, and he'd have to like take whatever he came with and work with it. And
Malik, you got to get up on that microphone.
yeah, man. Listen, my voice carries, baby.
I like your voice.
Listen,
it's
you're gonna
smooth.
find it. They're gonna hear it. You hear it over here.
I wouldn't want him to miss any of
It's
it.
called projection, baby. That's what I do.
Especially when he's talking about my skills.
Well, I feel like this has turned into being a show about Josh, and as much as I love hearing about Josh, I think we need to get back to the Malik story.
Well, it was really a good segue. It was a good segue. It was a good.
Josh was great. So anyway,
time,
what Josh
thank
would
you.
do with no. Okay.
No, but we did have a good time, and it really allowed me to also believe in myself that I could do these things.
You know what?
So-
That's important because that's exactly why we did it. So it was called the Working Actor Monologue Slam, and it was essentially a dream of Attica's. That wasn't his title. Speaking of titles, long ass monologues as titles. That was my genius idea. But Attica and I met on a film. He directed me in a movie in 2005, and around 2008, he said, "Hey, man, I have this idea. I want to do this kind of actor competition, kind of like, American Idol." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll work with you." So we put it together. We would host them down at Long Island University at the Cumble Theater.
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity to create a platform for actors to be seen. And at the time, well, soon after, maybe a year after we started, I booked the show Alphas, and that was a Universal cable television show.
Right.
And they had a diversity and inclusion initiative, and so we worked with them. They, in part, funded some of it, and it was a way to try to get actors seen by the powers that be and create a pipeline. At the same time, we also taught a class called The Working Actor, which is all about promoting the idea. If you are creative, and creativity comes in all forms, particularly for those artistic type folks who want to do the more traditional quote unquote creative arts, right? Dancing, singing, acting, music, what have you. That you are the CEO of You Incorporated. And so, you're always working, and get out of the mindset, like, I'm just waiting on a job, I'm between jobs. No, like you have an opportunity and responsibility to do something every day. And so I'm glad that you said it really made you believe in yourself, because honestly, I think you're a genius talent. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show is because I was happy to know that when I met you, you weren't doing this. And so therefore you created something, and it was important to me to support your new creation.
Thanks,
sir.
Malik.
See,
I
now it's
appreciate
about
that.
Josh. It's all about that.
But it is an interesting point that you made, because that was probably that was like 2009. And even though I had been performing for many years before that, it was the first time, like he said, that I started treating everything I did as a business. Like, me as the business. Every decision, everything I did had to be contributing to my company as me, and it helped me think that way, and obviously being
Speaking of which, why don't you guys shoot these things?
shoot like video.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
asked Josh about
Don't
that
throw that
today.
on me.
We
You
should
could have
be-
brought the
We should be
tripod.
video.
We should be recording this, filming this, because then you create more content,
Yeah,
bro.
I know.
And this is easier to sell.
I think it's great that I'm
Visual.
going to start filming this now after he mentions that, and just be like, "Oh, we messed up
Let
in
me
the
help you.
beginning."
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well,
See, you
video,
frame it up on
video.
a No, man.
Wait.
No, bro. You want to get
Yeah, I
a
know
shot
all
that
of
gets.
us.
This is how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna help you out.
Oh, there is a
Ooh,
tripod here.
There's a tripod there.
Watch what I do for you, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this show's going off the rails.
No, what I'm doing. Describe. Let's see how good you are. Describe what's going on.
So Malik is now raising the tripod and leaning it against the wall /
This is turning into a
window.
different kind of fun. Oh, there it is.
Wow, look at Malik is freaking.
Do we have to
but
add
how
his
are we
name?
going to talk? Are we just
Look
going
at
to
that. No, this is still gonna. No, you don't have to
Hey,
look at that. You don't have to relate to that. Now
Wow.
you have something. You have something. Don't worry about the lighting. Don't start being a fucking a fucking gaffer all of a sudden because I set your phone up so we can record. Now you guys just want to see yourselves.
I do now. Oh, wait,
No.
wait, you got a
Wait,
call
who's
now.
calling?
Who the fuck is calling?
Wait, give me the
Don't
phone.
answer
No,
that
don't
shit.
answer it.
Yeah,
Nah,
do
we're
that.
gonna decline it.
Oh,
All right, this is how we're gonna
Wait,
do
no,
it.
put it
Put
on airplane mode. Put it on airplane mode.
I'll put it on airplane mode. I'll hook you up,
We're
bro.
recording. We're literally on the fly recording the show right now with the
That's
help
right.
of cinematographer Malik Yoba
That's
here.
what I do.
Why do I feel like Malik is making us look very, very
No.
Amateur, but you know
Amateur.
what though? That's part of our journey
No, it's
here.
not
You know.
amateur. It's not amateur. Let's look at it for what it is. What it
No,
is
you're a
encouraging.
director-producer,
I
and
am.
you're
I'm
directing
Mr.
and
Make it
producing.
fucking happen. That's who
Right.
who I am.
Oh my gosh, there it is.
Listen, I went to junior high school right down the block from
Where I worked. I worked at
Look
Wagner.
at that. See? Now,
Not
look
at the
that.
same time though, but
That's not a bad, and you can see. Now you have it.
Well, thank
you
you.
want to get him in it a little.
Nah,
twist?
I'll occasionally. I know how to do it when the camera's over my shoulders.
You
See, it's
got
a 3-shot, bro.
Look, yeah, I got
It's
you.
dirty over, sort of. If I turn dirty over. If I turn this way, it becomes a dirty over. A little bit of me, more of you. I turn this way, then we have everybody up in the house. See that?
Yeah, well, for being HR professionals, we've lost complete control
Yes,
of
we
what's
have.
going on here. So,
You know what? It's a flaw of mine.
No, it's all right.
But it's also a Virgo trait.
Oh, just
Like,
take.
You know,
take the
you
reins?
walk in a restaurant and you see the picture tilted and you correct it.
oh,
Or
okay.
I clean public bathrooms.
Oh,
No,
things
you
that
don't.
people don't know.
Ew.
No, you don't.
Things that people don't know about me.
You don't
Oh.
clean. Stop.
Listen.
He's funny. He's funny.
I grew up with very, very strict parents. Now they would probably be called OCD, but I don't think they were.
Wait, you
But-
walk into a public bathroom, use it, and then clean it?
I don't understand. I was having this conversation today. I truly do not understand why people treat public bathrooms like garbage pails.
Okay.
And women often are worse than
No,
men.
women's
If you
bathrooms
go
are
into
worse.
women's bathrooms,
Really?
when there are no women in there and you need to use the bathroom and
Right.
it's empty and you use it.
But
It's
in our
disgusting.
defense, you guys get to stand and just shoot. Like, there's a whole, trying to,
No, I
balance
understand because
yourself.
none of you all want to sit down
Yeah.
because you think your coochies are going to get infected. But they have stuff for
This
that.
show is just all over the
It's a
place.
coochie show.
What did you talk to Malik
You know-
about today?
you know-
Coochies.
You know what
No,
bothers
but I
me?
just want to get back to how important this is to me. Like,
Okay.
literally, particularly in airplanes, I do it all the time. If I walk into a bathroom and it's dirty, I will clean it before I use it. My mother always said, leave a place better than it was when you got there.
Well,
And
you're
so-
definitely going to do that.
Wait, do
here
you do
today.
that?
So
Was that just meant for like household type stuff? Or in
No, but
general?
it's just an instinct, bro. I don't want to walk into. I personally do not understand. If I walk into a restaurant, I've owned a restaurant, and in fact, the bathroom was something that I gave particular care for in terms of the design of it and making sure that it was always well kept. And I think this comes from two places. One is being raised a certain way. If I walked in the hallway in my building, there was a piece of paper on the floor. My father said, "Pick it up." Well, I didn't put it there. You live here, pick it up. So I treat it no differently if I'm on an airplane, if I'm in a bathroom. I mean, I'm talking club, not so much clubs because clubs can be crazy, but like lounge or a restaurant,
Right.
where it's maybe one bathroom, not like a bathroom with a bunch of stalls and the whole thing. But
So when you go to your friends, do you walk into their
I've not only I've done that.
So
Like,
if he comes to your house and your bathroom's cleaner when he leaves, it speaks
you'll know
volumes
why.
about.
And sometimes, people don't know what to do with that. They like, damn, did you just, like the soap dish with caked up soap.
Wow,
this
you
and
really.
I'll clean that up. I was raised. Cleanliness is close to godliness,
Yeah.
as we were told. And so for me, back to the public spaces, if I walk in, I have to leave it better than it was when I got there, and I will wipe down the countertops and I'll wipe the toilet. Obviously, you grab extra towels and you wipe it down, and you leave it because I know that the person that comes in after me is going to feel better about their bathroom experience, even if you're just going there to defecate. You're going to do it with a level of grace and respect and dignity. So, and it's a metaphor for why we're here today. It's the same reason. It's
Yeah, I
the
was
same
gonna
reason
say,
why I
like, to
started
get
the
meta
working
about
actor
it.
class.
Yeah.
It's the same reason.
Is the lesson the
It's
same?
the same reason.
Yeah.
It's like if I pass through a space, I want to make sure that I've improved upon it, or at least left it in the condition that it was when I got there. And if it's out of order, whether I'm going to do something about it. I can't not. Like, I can't.
Can't help yourself.
I can't.
Even with a project.
I can't use the bathroom and just sit there and go, this is a mess, and then get up and leave it like that.
Wow.
Even with a project. Even with
Sometimes, yeah. I
script.
mean, no matter what I'm working on.
So let's go back and tell us what your job title is. And now I feel like you've got a ton of
I'm
them,
the CEO of I Give a Fuck Incorporated.
All right.
I like it.
And what is your dream job? Are you in your dream job?
Yes, I dream all the time, and I manifest all the time, and I'm constantly in a dream state, and I'm constantly in a manifesting state.
I like that word better. Sorry, manifestating.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah. It depends. If I was English, I might say manifesting. You know what I mean? Might change.
Oh my God, you could just talk to me all day. And actually, we should just have him do our jobs.
Half him.
All right, I'm gonna
from,
go, guys.
Like, Buffalo or Midwest?
Oh,
What
we
is
got
it?
it.
What
we
is
got
it?
Ohio.
Ohio.
And I've
Good
lived here.
one.
Do you know how long I've lived here? 20.
Long enough not to say
20
half.
25 years. See, this is my. I joke about that on here because I cannot get rid of it.
Yeah. What's okay?
And the more I drink, when I drink, it's really, really bad.
Drink up, drink up, drink.
We missed it last week. She went out the night before and came here green.
It was
Green
bad.
left in the middle.
It was
of the
bad.
podcast.
I've had a couple of hungover nights recently. I'm too
Really?
old for that shit.
Yeah, I'm
I've
too
been
old for
traveling,
that, too.
man, and partying all over the world, actually.
Don't you find it like the combo is like the worst, the drinking and the traveling? It just beats you up.
Yeah, but it's like, life, man. Living.
Wait, so
Yes.
back to. I want to ask you about the job that you had that blew. That was the worst. It wouldn't have to be a
Yeah, half. It wouldn't have to be.
have. It would have.
No,
to be.
have.
No, have.
You
to
gotta
be.
throw it on your shoulder
Shut
up there a little
up.
bit, like have.
Shut up.
All right.
So yes.
The worst job ever.
Or or a situation.
No, I've only had one, and it lasted one day.
We get that a lot.
We
Yeah.
get that a lot.
Yeah, I walked out. Well, I never came back. So it was a sweatshop in
Really?
Chelsea, Manhattan, right downtown.
How old were you?
I was about 17, and I answered an ad. I just needed a job. I was in high school, and it was I think it said like, come manufacture costume jewelry. And at the time, I was making I used to make leather bags, like knapsacks, and
Really?
I was practicing Buddhist, and I used to make little leather cases for the beads and a little sutra book, and like not duffel bags, but knapsacks, and sell them on the street, or the Buddhist stuff I would sell to other Buddhists. But and so it was costume jewelry, and I went, and it was a bunch of old Spanish women in a tight one room with a bunch of, like, they gave me a hot glue gun and some cheap jewelry, and I think I got paid like $2 an hour.
Oh my
It was
God.
something crazy. And I just felt so sad for these women. And I mean, I was literally like, I don't know, 15 old ladies and me, a 17-year-old black kid.
crazy.
And I was like, I can't believe this dude is paying these people this. And I just never went back. I didn't even try to get paid whatever the $10 I made for the day.
Unbelievable.
So, but yeah, pretty much I've had an opportunity to kind of work on stuff I want to work on ever since I was a kid, whatever it was. Like, I want to work in a clothing store. I want to sell ices. I want to be a bicycle messenger. I want to be a.
You did all those things?
I was a bike messenger when I was. It's crazy because I look back. My middle child is 18.
Mm-hmm.
And this summer she said to me, Dad, I can't believe all the things you did when you were my age, because it's crazy. I'm like, I was 17, 18 when I did this.
Right.
But yeah, I was a bike messenger.
Did you love those
I
little
love being a
jobs?
bike messenger. Yeah, that was a choice. It was a cool way to make some good money. It was the money.
Right.
It was like bike messengers in the 80s. You worked a couple of days, full days, and you might make, I don't know what it was, like $400, $300, whatever it was. It was like more than I would make doing.
Plus, it's physical. You're outside.
I was on a bike, riding around. So Frozaid ices on the street, Larry's Fresh Fruit ices, until it rained for a week straight. And then I had to get a job in a restaurant. I worked at Cafe Luxembourg on the Upper Side.
Wow.
I worked there in the late 80s. But I was fortunate because I always wanted to work with kids. And I got to do that pretty young. I started doing that at 17 as well. My
In what
first job
capacity?
in Harlem. Tutoring. Actually, I was 16. I started working with kids in after-school program, tutoring, like elementary school kids, and then playing little games with them. And then I taught theater in the summer during the day camp.
Wow.
And then that job led to a job with City Kids Foundation. I started volunteering there when I was 19. They hired me when I was 20. I stayed there until I was 24.
Wow.
And then
know. I feel like I've done nothing.
or 25, and then went off and started making movies.
Did you have a lot of little kids around you growing up? Is that why you were drawn to that kind of work, or?
I was drawn to it because teachers didn't understand me. Back to my junior high school, which is literally
Wagner.
5 blocks from here. I felt that I knew there were teachers, especially when you're a young black male. If you're not in the loving care of people who understand who you are and what you represent in terms of, particularly in America, the lineage of slavery and what that meant, and disenfranchisement and all those things, and young black boys are often targeted and labeled very young, right? They start preparing prison cells by the numbers, the graduation rates in middle school and attendance rates in middle school, and they can calculate for that. And so I had a teacher that tried to put me in special ed at 10 years old because my parents separated and I was emotionally off kilter, and so they thought that the thing is put this kid in special ed.
Right.
I had a teacher who put a dunce cap on me, Mr. Arias, and right here Wagner, and he sat me in a corner. He took oak tag, made a cone, stapled it, sat me in the corner, put that on my head because he said you talk too much in class, and
That makes you a dunce?
he thought he needed to make an example. But he was also that teacher that would tell us what we couldn't do, but he would do those same things, no eating in class, and then he'd pull out, literally, he put two Kit Kats packs in his pocket. That was his thing. He'd pull them out and he'd eat them in class and tell us we couldn't eat in class.
Right.
So was it a very diverse school?
Wagner at the time, yeah, definitely. I've always gone to very diverse schools. I went to 198 right there on 3rd Avenue, 96th Street. It was elementary school, and then Wagner Junior High School. My mother specifically was very, very determined to make sure that we had those experiences. But
wait, even back then you had to apply to those schools?
I don't know how she did
That's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, because we lived in East Harlem.
Oh no, that's
I grew up on 108th.
That might have even been
First.
zoned for that. Yeah.
So, so Mr. Arias made a point of calling me out. Cut to, I'm now 20, and I'm working for the City Kids Foundation, and I'm working in 13 high schools in New York through a private organization that's working to reduce the dropout rate. Teachers like Mr. Arias made me hate school, but I love learning. They made me want to become an educator, actually. So coming out of high school, I wanted to study early childhood education and musical theater.
Interesting.
And one day I'm doing a workshop at Manhattan Center for Science and Math, which is right on 116th and 1st Avenue, on Pleasant Avenue. And I'm teaching teachers how to communicate better with students. And I have them standing in a big circle in the library of the school, and I noticed this one teacher. I'm like, damn, that dude looks familiar. Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
That's Mr. Arias.
Shut up. See, full
And I said,
circle.
full
Full circle.
All right, that's
I
the
said,
episode. Full
Mr.
circle.
Mr. Arias, do you remember me? And he didn't, because now I'm 20. I'm no longer like a 12-year-old kid.
Right.
You should have made a dunce hat.
And I told that story. And I said, you're part of the problem. I said,
Did you say this to him or the
absolutely, and to him in front of the
group?
group.
Good for you.
Good.
I was like, you said I was a dunce, and this is how you treated me, and this is what you did, and this is how you used to tell us what not to do. And the reason why he looked familiar, and he even caught my attention, is because he was the one teacher that was being disruptive while I was facilitating this workshop.
Look at that.
And he's running his mouth, and I turned around and said, you're the same guy that didn't, respect me as a kid, and you're doing it again.
So wait, was this after you called him out? Or
this was all the same work. It was a
No, but
workshop.
I'm saying, had you already said, I know who you are, you
this
did
was
this?
in the workshop.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, after you said to him, you put the dunce hat, did you start teaching and he was interrupting?
No, this was
beforehand. He noticed it as
because he was being
okay,
disruptive. I'm like,
okay.
oh, who's the one making all the noise? Oh, you.
Yeah, okay.
You were my
That's
teacher.
great. And that story has obviously stayed with you forever. I mean, was that a moment for you that said maybe I have more to do?
I came in dancing to a different drummer anyway. I came
Right.
in with a certain sense of self that my father tried to beat it out of me. Teachers tried to like punish you, but I just knew that I was destined to do certain things. And the older you get, the more experiences you have, you recognize that what it is more than anything is personal belief.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I argue the whole environment
Nature versus nurture.
because I think it's both. But I also think nature. You are born with. I mean, where did you get that sense of?
Well, I definitely was born with my older sister. Likes to remind me that you just dance to your own drummer. No matter what our father said, you just didn't believe it. Like I told you, I gave my teachers my autograph when I was 13.
Right.
I said, I'm going to be famous. You should keep this. Like, I believed it. And it wasn't, we grew up without television. My father refused to put TV in the house because he called it idiot box. And I'm not going to let, he said, I'm not going to let white folks teach you how to think.
Right.
Because that's who's writing television. And so he would put us in situations where we had to be creative and critical in our thinking. And I felt that there was just something inside of me that just told me, like, I bet most people who have, you hear a lot of times people say, oh, I had this success, I never imagined it. But I think a lot of well-known people and people who go on to do great things, the thing great defined as the things that can impact many, and become notable for that. There's always some sense that this life has meaning, and I'm gonna do something. And then if it's nurtured, folks might come to it quicker.
Were you a funny kid? Were you
I thought I was hilarious. I'm still hilarious. I'm fucking hilarious, dude.
And you got to say
You've
that.
made us laugh. That's for sure.
You have. Because it's interesting, like, to just tap into those like basic elements about yourself. I'm funny, or I'm a good storyteller. I want to teach. How do I manifest that? And you tried some things earlier. When did you start leaning into wanting to be a performer or theater? Was theater something you wanted to do?
That was it from young. 4 years old, I saw Alice in Wonderland. I was like, I want to do that. And back to Wagner. We had a drama club. I don't know when this podcast will air or be released, but June 22nd is the next public showing of Harlem to Hollywood, which is my one-man show, which tells all of this stuff in a very funny way.
Cool. Where?
At the Apollo.
Okay, this will air before then.
Yeah, I do about 15 different characters and set in a therapist's office, and so back to full circle, because a lot of the inspiration for this actually started right in this neighborhood. The fact that it's in the therapist's office, all my Upper East Side, where we are, Jewish friends, they all had therapists in junior high school. Shrinks, as they were called.
Oh, no. When I moved here, I became friends with a Jewish girl, and she would call her on the phone and, like, talk outside of their appointments. Yeah. And I thought it was the most bizarre thing.
This is my therapy, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
With both of you.
Good.
Yeah.
Here.
No.
It's important. It's important to talk about your stuff.
No, I agree.
So, yeah, but back to your question about the performer. Yeah, that we had a drama club, and that school was also chosen to participate in the Metropolitan Opera Children's Theater Guild, where I had auditioned for that and got into that when I was also 13. So, yeah, it started young.
Wow. So, kind of moving us through that, being a young person.
I want to stay right here.
You want to stay right here?
I made you laugh. I told you I'm fucking.
You are fucking funny, all right? I'm just trying not. I'm not speaking now because I'm afraid I'm going to say a word that's going to get me in trouble.
I was going to say you could try my jokes, but no, you better perform. I got booed off the stage at the Apollo.
Did you?
I did try it. I got up there. I did about a minute and a half.
You're really talented, man.
Thanks.
Fuck those people.
No, but you know what? It was part of the experience for me. My mom came, my wife came. They were like, "What the fuck?" They were like all pissed. But I was like, "You don't understand. It's like it was awesome. Like I was up there, and the guy started booing, and I was like, "Stop it!" And like they all got. And then people came up to me after. And they were like, "You were so funny. I really liked it."
Funny,
I was like, "Well, then why are you booing?"
And you're really talented. Like the character work he did at the Monologue Slam was was genius.
Come on, I did Coming to America.
This really is
As
a
a
therapy
barber.
session for you,
It is.
Josh.
It's making me feel good.
I'm glad.
So I want to get into kind of like that progression for you, like getting you know, some early work and some early success, and then you know, because I know. I don't know why I keep thinking Hollywood movie-wise, but movie-wise, the first big hit you had was Cool Runnings, and that got your name out there. And then the TV success was coming after that. So New York
Right after
Undercover.
that, 5 months later. New
Right.
York
So
Undercover.
that was a great span, and then
I don't know if
kinda
it was
maybe-
great. It was kind of unusual. Like the movie.
Wait, you didn't watch TV growing up, but did you watch movies?
I did. We did go to the movies. I mean, you watch TV. You go to your friend's house, and
Right,
watch TV, but we didn't have one in the house. My father was determined. And you know, he finally got a TV when Roots came out.
Really.
1977.
Yep.
Yes.
I was 10 years old.
I watched Roots. I would think I was 5.
He bought a television just so we could watch
Watch
Roots.
Wow.
Did you watch it?
Of course, we had
yeah.
to. We said, my father was the type of guy that not only did he allow us to watch that or take us to documentaries on at the time were obscure things like apartheid in South Africa at the Harlem State Office building, or you know, the treatment of women in China, and when they used to have to bound the feet of the women, and like I was in elementary school, and you take us to see these things, and we had to write reports about it.
For him?
Yeah, for him.
Wow.
Yeah, so like on top of whatever your schoolwork was. And
I have
as
to
a
say,
kid,
at the time,
hated
you
it.
must have hated it, but not such a bad thing that he did expose you
He
to that.
always
That's pretty-
said, "You're gonna hate me as a kid, but love you as an adult." I still hate that mother. No, I'm just kidding. No, I grew.
No,
to-
but he was exposing you to a world
He
that,
was,
you know,
man.
maybe he couldn't take you to these places and show you, but he was bringing it to you, and
Yeah.
that is so
and making us
valuable.
write about it.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
No,
So-
that is.
So everybody in my family turned out to be a writer
Really?
Really?
of some sort.
Like what? Books, journalists.
We've written everything:
Wow.
journals, blogs, books, movies, TV, theater, web series, poems, songs.
Wow.
Wow. Is the
I
one
own Ticket. Oh,
But
I'll
I'm-
be back here.
at the comic strip next week?
So,
What about the one man show? Is that something that is a pinnacle for you? Is
Oh
that
my
a
God,
highlight
that's
for
that.
you?
It took 13 years to write.
Wow.
Started in 2004, collaborating with a lovely man named Kevin Ramsey. Started writing the show in 2006. Did the first iteration of it in 2008 in Indiana at the Madam C.J. Walker Theater. Second one in 2016 at right here in Harlem, near where I grew up, Full Circle,
There it is.
at PS 109.
I love that
There's
you
an
keep
artist
giving
space.
my title. Like, it's
Well, that's the thing, man.
my
If people
title.
realized, well, yeah, I mean, we go back to Harlem, Hollywood. So it did in 2008, 2016, 2017, did another residency. The end of 2018, did it at a reading of it at the August Wilson Center in
Oh,
Pittsburgh.
that's cool.
Did it February 8th here at Apollo, and doing it again June 22nd. But the full iteration of the show is a cinematic theatrical experience. It's immersive. So I have all this footage that will be incorporated into it. And
So you're playing
projection.
multimedia up there.
we don't call it multimedia. We call it a cinematic theatrical experience, sir.
There it is.
Okay.
Branding.
So when you became interested in acting,
Yes.
who did you look up to? Like, who were you like?
Just good actors.
Anyone
Good
in
actors. Like
particular?
anybody who took me there.
And
I
do you
was like,
remember
wow.
watching someone and being like, "Wow"?
It was more like, I can do that. I'm going to do that. That's what it was. Definitely more that. Like, I remember so many projects I'd watch and go, oh, I can definitely do that. Like, a lot of times I would just feel like I was better than the people I was watching.
Wow.
To be honest with you, I was like, that's not how you do that. That's how you do that. This is how you, like, literally, like, especially with accents and dialects. Yeah, I'd watch certain actors and go, nah. Or, like, for me, something like New York Undercover, to portray a young black kid, young cop from New York, there's a certain swag, there's a certain attitude. And I'd see other actors try to give you that New York. I'm like, nah, that's
It's
not
not it.
This is it. Cool Runnings. This is it. And Disney didn't let us go all the way, like authentic Jamaican,
Right.
in our opinion. Although many Jamaicans will debate, oh my God, it was perfect. Others would be like, man, you're so like a counterfeit.
So what was? I mean, working with John Candy must have been. I mean,
He was a nice man, a very sweet man. Did he play this one? I wonder if John Candy
I'm-
ever
John
did.
Candy died.
No, but I'm sure at some point he came through here.
John
maybe.
Candy? Well, he
Did
was
he?
really more of like an improv from Canada.
How do you
Yeah.
know he didn't do anything at the comedy
I
show?
don't know, but I
You
don't know that it-
We know
Josh
he died.
is just like, I'm establishing he died. Did you know that the
'Cause I don't think- no,
he
but
died
I'm-
in 1994,
I'm gonna step out.
February of
I'm gonna- there you
1994,
go.
because I'm a freak about
Because I don't think he
dates.
was a stand-up. I think he was a lot of with the stand-up and improv.
He was a stand-up guy. I resent you
was.
saying he wasn't a stand-up guy.
But they didn't do.
I
it's
think
not
I
the
just
same
heard you
kind of
say he
comedy.
wasn't a stand-up guy.
No, stand-up comic.
Well, he was on that show in Canada with a
Yeah,
bunch of
CTV.
SCTV.
SCTV.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
With all of them. I mean, oh my God, I do this all the time.
I
Forget
know.
the names.
All of those guys.
I know all of them. Eugene Levy.
Levy,
Which, by the
and
way, Schitt's Creek is a hilarious show.
He's
for you to
fucking
watch.
hysterical.
He is
Okay.
so funny.
he's
But
hysterical.
anyway,
I'm multitasking because I have a guest in the front. Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
cool. All right, next interview. No. Yeah, well, so we're saying playing those characters and trying to play them authentically. And where does somebody, how do you guide someone into finding that kind of confidence in themselves? I mean, you had it maybe a little bit, you maybe developed it also a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
how do you tell someone, listen, you have that in you? How do you get it out of
You
people?
just try to encourage it. Just try to, the thing I'm on the most these days in terms of public speaking. I'm speaking at Youth Summit at John Jay here on Saturday. I do a lot of that. I was just in Tampa, West Palm doing one. I was just speaking for a bunch of formerly incarcerated individuals that came out due to their being released based on DNA evidence
Right.
done through the Innocence
Right.
Project. And so whether it's formerly incarcerated adults, whether it's middle school kids, high school, college, I think the biggest lie that human beings have been told is that abundance isn't, that the world is not abundant, that opportunity is the providence of a few. And you're a woman. There are things that are very real, right? Glass ceilings, what have you. But there's still a woman running some shit somewhere, whether it's a country like Angela Merkel, or we won't talk about Miss May in London.
No.
Yeah, she's having
but-
some issues.
The woman in New Zealand who
Yeah.
was
New
like,
Zealand,
guns,
right,
bye.
right. Yeah, I look at Madam C.J. Walker, right? In the early 1900s, as a black woman, or 19th century, became the first black millionaire from hair care products when everyone told you no, right? And the one thing that's consistent is the belief, like, no matter what, this is what I see, this is what I'm going to do. I don't care what you say. I don't care what my mama says. I don't care what the president says. I don't care what white people say. I don't care what men say. I don't care what gay people say, what straight people say. This is what it is. This is what I'm focused on. This is what I'm going to manifest, no matter what. And so, for me, that's the one thing that I would tell people, no matter what the age group is, and continue to reiterate that, because my life is an example of that. Like, I'm not saying this is the thing I read. No, I live it. I was told that I was going to end up dead or in jail, or I'm not going to, you're a young black male, you should be. No, fuck that. This is what I'm doing. Right. I'm developing real estate. How about that? I'm building buildings in New York. I'm going to be an actor. I'm opening a restaurant. I'm starting a marketing company. I'm starting a record company.
Can you hire Josh and I for something?
Why? And this is true. So earlier before we got on, I said, you're going to become a very successful writer.
Yeah.
I wasn't just saying that to say it to you. It was something I felt in the moment that I said it. And, I was looking at you and just thinking of all the writers that I know in Hollywood that are very successful, that walk around looking exactly like
Well, there are a
hoodie.
lot of Jewish writers in
Well,
Hollywood.
I know.
not
And
to-
this is exactly how they dress. This is exactly how they look. And I looked at you today and said, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
I think you're really talented.
Thanks.
And let me ask you, how much self-doubt do you have?
It's always there.
See?
It can
1
be
ounce
there.
of doubt and you're out.
Yeah. 1 ounce
I
of
will
doubt,
tell
yeah.
you. I will
Uh-oh,
tell you.
Josh has his new tag.
1 ounce of
Tag.
doubt and you're
Yeah.
out. I will tell you. That is not something that lives with me like that. I don't. And I don't think about that. I don't think about I can't. And I'm like, fuck that. I will.
So Malik,
I will.
I will and I must.
I have
will
to
and I
ask. So
must.
you had said before when you go into a room, you want to leave it
Better than it
better
was.
than it was.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the world? I feel like
Well, that's the room too. That's the room. It's the bathroom, the bedroom, the house, the building, the neighborhood, the town, the city, the state, the country, the world.
I feel like the stuff you're doing for young people is
for young and old.
Yeah.
Like so right now, one of the things that we're starting to do, we're in pre-production on something called I Build New York, which is an initiative to expose young people of color to the world of development, real estate development, and every opportunity in that ecosystem, down to the manufacturing and design of furniture,
Sales, architecture, everything.
all of it, interior design, sales, engineering, the finance, all of it. Growing up as a kid in the South Bronx, raised in Harlem, when Harlem was burnt out in the 70s and the 80s, I used to walk around going, one day I'm going to be a billionaire so I could build, and I want to change this.
Right.
I used to dream about this. And I've literally been able to speak this into existence. And so I've been part of a development project in Baltimore for the last 11 years. There's some things that I have that are in the works here in New York. Mm-hmm. But in the meantime, I was sitting with my group, my chief of staff, Miss Leslie Ann Dunn here, and a couple other members of our team, talking about my desire to bring three of my passions together: young people, working with young people, filmmaking, and real estate development. And expressed this idea. 2 days later, she sends me a deck that she put together based on my thoughts, right? And I pointed out to her, I said, you see what happened? I spoke it, and you were inspired. You took it, and you presented it back to me. That's the first, the second, well, the third, really, form of manifestation. The first is the thought. The second is speaking it. The third, she handed me a physical document. That physical document then went to the people that listened to me with this dream. Some of them happened to be very successful developers. And, people like Scott Reckler of RXR Realty, who's very successful. He does not look like me. He is a white male. And I go to Scott, who's a friend and a mentor, and I tell him, this is what I'm working on, and this is what I want to do. And he goes, I'll fund it. And, he says, do you have any projects you want to build as well? Because we can do the content. So we're in pre-production right now on I Build New York. And that's the title Leslie Ann gave to it.
Nice.
And so that's one example of many of this is what I'm going to do, and you do it. And you speak it, and you believe it, and you keep believing it, and you keep saying it. And so,
I used to think that I've been the middle person in that sometimes, where someone will present an idea, and be like, it's just this idea, and then I'm obsessed with it, and I have to do something with. I see it. I see exactly what this is supposed to look like. So I'll go out and I'll put it together or write it or something, and people. It's like I have to do it. I can't not do it, or else, it's gonna consume me otherwise. And sometimes I think, it's a waste of time. But other times I'm like, no, you know what?
It just takes that one time that
just takes that one time that it's not. And even still, if it's not, I have to do this even for that person. If that person says it and I give it to you, here, you do. I just did this middle part that you couldn't get over,
right? And
you couldn't start, and I gave it to you. And if you want to do something with it, I'll go on that journey with you. But otherwise, I just had to do this, so I guess it's not a waste of time. It is something that it helps you be inspired.
Yeah, just keep moving. Just keep moving. Just keep moving.
Yeah, go that way.
Oh, you tell her to go the wrong way.
Oh.
So, perfect case in point, that young lady who's here.
We have a guest of Malik's coming.
She heard me speak at an event.
What's her name? Can we know her name?
God, I gotta remember it. It's Adriana.
Hi, Adriana.
So I was speaking at an event about this very topic. It was called Songs in Conversation. And I was asking people to speak their dreams out loud. And she happened to be in the audience. And I had her come up, and it was almost impossible for her to articulate, you know, what she wanted. And she literally started crying. And, you know, I had the audience encourage her to speak it.
Keep going.
And she pulled me to the side afterwards and said, you know, I do believe in what you're saying. I'm a school teacher now, and I do believe in the power of positive thinking. And I've been trying that, but there are some other things I'm trying to achieve that I don't seem to be able to kind of get out of my own way. And this was maybe a month and a half ago. And I said, I'm traveling. Here's my number. You know, stay in contact. When I'm back in town, we'll spend some time. That's this day.
Oh, okay.
I have not seen her since that event. And so the earlier question is, how do you keep people encouraged? Sometimes you stay in contact with them, like her, and just help people along the way. And particularly for artists, I think, you know, it's a very selfish endeavor, right? I want to be famous. I want this job. But there's a we here.
Right.
And I truly believe that my blessings flow because I believe in abundance of giving as well. And I think when you do that, then the cycle will always continue, and you will be provided for.
And I have to say, you've always been like that for me in particular, from meeting you, from staying in touch, from asking me to collaborate or read a part or something, and just being able to communicate with you when I needed to reach out and say, hey, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that like wealth of kindness, I will never forget it. Regardless of what happens with me, career, family life, I will always say, like, you know, he was always willing to help and to get a word of advice, you know, and I just think that there needs to be more of that.
Yeah,
in the
well,
world.
and even for her, she's got these obstacles, but she had this to look forward to, and you gave her something
Well, same
positive.
thing with Leslie Ann. You know, Leslie Ann, you know, was working in another capacity, but always dreamt about not being in. She's had in a bureaucratic system, right?
Right.
And so there was a time when I was the vendor for her.
Oh.
You know, and she provided opportunity. And then she approached me one day and said, I think you should start a foundation. I want to run it. And I was like, I've done foundations.
Right.
We have to work just as hard in the for-profit world. We can make a lot of money and just still do good with it. There's a mindset that goes with many people who work for nonprofits is this, you know, we have to beg people for opportunity. The entrepreneur says, fuck that. I'm going to create this opportunity. And so I'm happy to have been able to provide opportunity for Leslie Ann as well to work with me to say, look, girl, this is how we manifest. And, you know, putting this team together and you're running the point on it because these are all the projects. So people look at me and go, oh, that's that dude from that movie. Some people do that. Some people know that's Malik Yoba and he's done blah, 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 and they know every single thing. But a lot of people don't know the business side. Like literally I just finished a contract for Google writing for a VR character. They're using technology to their virtual reality platform to train police officers in de-escalating tense situations.
Wow.
I look at it as I'm helping use technology to save black people's lives because too many cops kill us for no reason. People don't know that I do that. Or go ahead.
You're doing so many other things, and it's so funny to me that, like, to look at you from the outside and say, oh, he's an actor.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, Malik Yoba.
A lot of layers.
But like,
Lots of
it seems
layers.
to me everything you say, every story you're telling us, there's this educator. You want to be someone who helps, who's a storyteller, who wants to raise people up. I mean, that's almost. Is it too much to say that that's almost more of who you are?
Well, that is who I am. I mean, you know, that's what I said. You said, what title? I'm the CEO of I Give a Fuck Incorporated. I came up with that one. You can use it. Please use it, actually.
Okay,
I want
I'll be the
everybody.
I'll be the Jewish treasurer.
No. I want people to walk around as the CEO of I Give a Fuck Incorporated.
Yeah.
I take no ownership of that.
Got it.
other than the
Also starring in
well,
New
there's a
York
book I'm
Undercover.
writing about it. Well,
That's
yeah,
full
I'm
circle,
working
too.
as
New
an
York
actor.
New
Yeah.
York
New
Undercover's coming back as a series and
Yeah.
playing the same character.
Well, we'll
that
find
was-
out.
Yeah.
The show
Well,
got picked.
Come on,
but we-
ABC.
Yeah, but like you're coming full circle. It was the right
Yes.
time, right? It was the
right time
moment,
to
the
be
right
in New
pitch.
York. Yeah, definitely.
Are you excited? How was the shoot?
It was great. It was surreal, man. It was because I've shot a lot of projects in the last 20 years in New York, and the minute I put that toothpick in my mouth, for those that don't know, that was a character
Yeah.
choice, very similar. It was inspired by
Kojak.
exactly. He
There
had
it
his
is.
lollipop. Each character, I try to give them a little thing that they do,
Original, unique.
or just some little thing that they have. That's
Is Lauren Velez back? Is she?
her name is Luna. It was Lauren.
Oh.
Well, the world called her Lauren, but her family always called her Luna.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So with
I don't
all
know.
due
We
respect,
we
have
danced
to-
at a party one time.
We have
and
to now call her Luna.
Okay, Luna.
It takes a
Okay.
while.
All right.
Like, can I ask a selfish question? What was it like working on Copland? Because I love that movie, and it's got every major, like Italian American,
That was supposed to be
gangster.
Stallone.
Let me tell you
Oscar.
something.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You know, you're gonna ask me a fucking
I mean,
question. you know
De
what I'm
Niro
doing?
yelling at
All
Stallone
day
in the
long. What are
office,
you
and you're
gonna do?
sitting there
You
on
blew
the
it. You blew it. Guy
It was
asked me,
awesome.
what are you doing?
I have never seen that.
It's
movie.
so good,
It's
and
good.
it's
I've
so
heard, but I don't know
good.
why. It was a place in my life. I guess I just
And
wasn't.
and
It's
just every
called
scene is
Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on something. Somewhere.
It's hard now that with a 10-year-old daughter. I can't like. There's
Right.
some movies
Can I,
that I
can I just
can't.
tell you?
You have to watch it with her.
I don't know that is that 10-year-old approved.
No, I
It's-
said you don't have
Oh
to.
no,
watch
but
it
I'm
with
saying
her.
she stays up until like 11 o'clock. It's
Right.
really
I know. I understand. Small
Yeah.
children. But eventually you can get
no.
to it.
Yeah.
It was great, man. I was young. I was 28. I knew De Niro. De Niro used to support the City Kids Foundation,
Okay.
so I knew him from that. And so to end up doing a movie with him was kind of trippy, particularly my first day shooting with him and Stallone, and being on the set like, oh shit, De Niro and
And
Stallone,
Stallone,
and it's me.
They had
just
to be
three of
so
them.
and like all
Real.
your scenes were with them
Yeah,
because
my
it was always
scenes
in the
were-
office
it was
there.
always
so.
with De Niro.
I did a commercial with De Niro,
I don't
and
care
I
about
had
that.
to
This
sit
is
in
my
a
And,
trunk.
and
I had to
everyone
sit
in this
the
show
trunk.
has already heard that.
this-
story.
Listen, I've done 4 things.
I
Let
know
me
it.
talk about them, okay?
Everyone on the show. anyone
Every
who listens
episode, I
knows.
talk about one less of the 4 things, and then just circle back around. What are you talking about?
Full circle for Josh. Full
See?
circle for
Making
Josh.
it about Josh.
I think it's gonna listen. When I called you when you were on the Designated Survivor,
Right.
I was so psyched. The show was so good. I mean, like it's just you find ways to keep doing things. I'm excited. For
That's
this
God,
one too,
man. I don't
you
take.
know?
I honestly look. The one thing I said about the thinking and believing in self, being unwavering in your belief, 1 ounce of doubt and you're out. I think that's critical. But I truly, truly believe at 51 years old, having done my first film 30 years ago in 1989, having worked consistently since 93 as an actor, writer, well, even just the actor part.
Right.
I've never not worked. And I don't say that boastfully. I say that
Thankfully.
thankfully, because I truly believe that the generosity that you feel you experience with me is the key,
Mm-hmm.
along with the belief. You have to give a fuck, man. You can't just pursue your dream and forget about everybody else. And lift as you climb. You have to do that. And I think that when you do that, the universe, the world opens up to you in a way that you won't know until you do that.
Right.
I feel like you should have a church. Because
This is church,
go.
though.
I
This
go.
is the church.
But I also want to ask you, because you have been able to work, throughout those years, tell us about what you've seen as far as the evolution for opportunities for
People of color,
people
that
of
look
color.
like me.
Yes.
There's certainly more. I mean, when I started, there were 2.5, 3.5 networks. Fox wasn't even a full network. You had to have 13 hours of original programming to be considered a network. We had 9 in 94 when New York Undercover was around the first time. Now you have hundreds of platforms. So there's certainly more opportunity.
More recognition.
There's more recognition. There's more opportunity. And, you know, it's for everyone. I mean, I love to see what's happening with the LGBT community, with the trans community. with well,
Yeah,
it's
Billy
Tea
Porter
Party.
at the Met.
At the Met.
Oh, gee, I love
And
that
Billy
guy.
Porter, like, man, I'm so happy for him because I used to have a restaurant here in New York called Soul Cafe on 42nd Street, where the Signature Theater is now. That used to be
Okay.
where National Video was back in the day, where the original Kramer was. We had a restaurant for 9 years, 96 to 2004. That's another thing. I was 19 years old, working at Cafe Luxembourg, saying I'm going to have a restaurant. By 29, I had it. And it was a young man who I used to see around the city. And I'd share my dream. Man, you can't do that. Opening night, that kid happened to be at the restaurant. He goes, remember me? Mr. Doubtful, you did it. He ended up opening a restaurant some years later. But Billy sang at my restaurant years ago when he was on Broadway. I forgot what show he was doing. And I'm so happy to see him, particularly.
Have you seen Pose?
I've seen some episodes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I also love because it's the 80s.
I came
love
up in that time. Yeah, the ball scene that like in New York growing up. Yeah, I went to balls in the 80s.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had friends. Like I went to school with. If you ever saw Paris is Burning, I went to
wanna see
school
that. I know
with.
what you're
That's on Netflix.
Yes.
Yes, you can watch that too.
Okay.
Late at night when your kid is sleeping. Octavia St. Laurent, who's prominently featured in that. We went to high school right down the block at Julia Richmond.
Wow.
At one of 3 high schools I went to. So, but she was in one of them.
That's cool.
And did you consider going to college, or were you?
I did. I just never matriculated. Yeah.
How'd you get training? Where'd you get acting training?
So, like I said, because we were fortunate in the 70s and 80s, you had theater programs. So, right here at Wagner, we had a theater program with Miss Rich. She was our drama teacher who hated me. She didn't think I was funny. She thought other people were funny, but I got the last laugh.
That's part of it. Just think you're funny, and then put your funny out there, and then your funny will manifest.
But the Metropolitan Opera Children's Theater Guild, HP Studios, private lessons with Cynthia Belgrave, who is a contemporary of Susan Batson. And so that was the training. But the real training happens when you work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you could definitely go get the toolbox and get
and
the
work
tool.
begets work. So, the
But
more
also,
push
if you
out
pay
there
attention to really, study other actors and ask a lot of questions, especially on set. Like, theater similarly. But set, man, there's so much to learn. I spent a lot of time with DPs. Every DP I've ever worked with, I've built some kind of relationship with the camera operators, especially because I like to direct. And so I've always just wanted to know, like, why that lens and when are you going to use Steadicam versus tracks or whatever it might be. And so I've just always been really, really passionate about the learning part on set.
And for accents, have you just always been really good at doing them, or do you?
Yeah, that's just, I think it's like singing. I think you hear it, you hear music, and a C note is a C note all over the world, and so you either hear it or you don't.
No, I don't.
Yeah, some people just don't hear it, and they can't.
Mm-mm.
And all accents aren't as easy, but I do quite a bit.
So, I mean, I still, English, Australian,
I can hear the difference.
Yeah.
Can
can't-
you?
can-
I still.
In doing the show, I meet people from all over the world, and it's weird. I can hear them talking. I'm like,
Yeah.
Australia, New Zealand. Sometimes
Right.
once in a while you hear it, but recreating it is sometimes
No, I
harder.
can't
I
do
have like
that.
10. I do.
I have one
that's it.
accent, and you've heard it.
I have one
The
accent.
accent, the
Yes,
accent, the
yes.
accent.
Up in my
The
nose
accent.
with my friend Erin.
Yeah.
Accent.
Okay, so we're going to ask an annoying HR question
Mm-hmm.
that we ask every week. I'm not sure if you've ever heard it before, but where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Doing more of the same at a higher level, whatever that means. I just continue to vibrate higher. Just manifest because I'm doing everything I've ever wanted to do. I've always done everything I've always wanted to do. It's just stepping into it. What level are you doing it?
How hard you push?
Well, it's sometimes how willing you are to let go too. It's
What
not
do you
always
mean?
about pushing.
Like, oh,
Because
what?
people think of the idea that this is the thing. A lot of times, like for instance, Harlem to Hollywood, my one-man show, initially I thought this show was the initial conceit was subway, 9/11, the towers fall, and there are all these people stuck on the subway car and they have to get out. And that was inspired by the fact that I used to, when I rode the subway as a kid, I would ear hustle all the time and listen to accents and go, oh, well, what language do you speak? And then I would mimic them, and then so that's where a lot of it happened as a kid, just growing up in the city, right up the block. One of the first characters you meet is a character called Candyman, an old Spanish guy. But that was based on a guy who owned the bodega up the block from where we are right now, 96th Street and First Avenue. I used to stop in there before school just to hear the guy say, 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. How much for this one? 2 for 10, 2 for 5,
Right.
And so he ended up as a character in my show, and I thought this show was just going to be a way to, like, let me showcase all these voices and these people that I do, and I'll talk about my journey. But that's not what the show really is about. It's really about the spiritual, emotional, and mental journey of a boy who grew up in an abusive environment, who grew up in Harlem in the South Bronx, who, has experienced trauma, and it became about, what happens when you have a dream and you achieve it, it's not the thing you thought it was. And then it became about a universal themes. It had to be, right? Because just talking about me isn't that interesting. So no matter who you are, there's something about the show, some character
that you can relate to.
Yeah, and each one of them is going for something. And that's the universal
But they're all
part.
stuck on this subway.
Yeah, well, no, it's no longer. It's now. It takes place in the therapist's office.
Oh, okay.
I
It's no longer in the subway. So, I'm saying I had to be obedient to what it wanted to be, and sometimes we can hold on so tight. This is what I have to do, and I have to go in this direction. And sometimes it's the letting go that allows it, like New York Undercover.
Right.
We knew from the time the show was canceled in 1998 that this is something audiences never wanted to leave. And so to carry the burden of first of all, the first show in the history of television with a black and Latino as the lead that gets renewed past the first season, right? First drama ever.
And there was a lot of hip hop influence on that show.
We were the
Yes.
show to introduce the world to many hip hop artists. We were the first one in prime time to play hip hop music, to have them perform. Biggie performed in the show. We tried to get Tupac on the show.
Mary J. Blige.
So many people. 75 of the top artists ever, but not just hip hop. Everybody from B.B. King to James Brown to the Marleys to Lisa Stanfield to Phil Collins to Brandy to Mary Wilson to the Four Tops to the OJs.
Wow.
We had everybody perform.
But what's interesting
But
about
I just want to
Okay,
finish
sorry.
that full circle
Full
point.
circle, yes.
So for years, we had been pushing for the return of the show, mostly on behalf of an audience that's telling you every single day of your life, what happened to the show, man? Why is it coming back? Whether it's on social media, in the wherever you are, people are in your face. And for years, we had been trying to push. I met with Dick Wolf back in 2013 about when I was doing Alphas, because I was back in the Universal system, and it was a Universal show. I said, hey, man, this is the time. When Empire came out, and that was a very similar DNA, at least the pilot was, in the first season, had a lot of the same elements that made New York Undercover work, and approached it then. Finally, in 2017, Luna was doing a play in L.A., and Michael DiLorenzo and I went to go see it. And we had been talking about this off and on for years, and I was like, "Look, man, I'm not going to keep pushing to go backwards. Like I've passed that show. I'm good. Like I've had a legit career for the last however long it's been. So let go of that. And then when it comes back for everybody in the same way. Like even Dick Wolf wasn't trying to do it. It was ABC that said, "Do you have some diverse content?" So he went into the vault. And Anthony Hemingway, who directed it, who was a PA back in the day, he wasn't trying to do it. Laya LaFleur, who's a producer on the show, who helped develop it originally, now works with Anthony. And so there's so many people. Sandra Hernandez, who did wardrobe, she came back. So it took on a life of its own. So sometimes you have to let it go.
You let it go, and maybe it comes back.
Well, and what was great about Fox at the time was they put your show against Seinfeld.
Right.
I mean, Fox was really innovative when they first.
Well, they had to. I mean, that's just numbers, right? If you got white America, the numbers, they knew exactly who was watching Seinfeld. It wasn't black folk.
Right, but they
Latino,
were willing to do something that
well,
no one
because
else had done.
well, that's yeah. I mean, they had to.
Yeah.
You know, we have buying power. It's about selling product. Ultimately, it's commercial television.
Well, no, I don't kid myself. Everything is about money, but the fact that they
but it's
took,
just makes good business sense. It's the same reason. Look, trust me, Black Panther could have come out in '94. The shit would have still made $1 billion.
Oh, yeah.
In '94.
I worked with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. So, well, he was too young then to do the movie,
Yes.
but it would have been whoever it was. But so, you know, we have value, and that goes back to, I think, one of the essential things we're talking about is recognizing the value in all of us. And when you talk about full circle, you know, knowing that that line in that circle runs through all of us. There is no other. You know, we talk about all these issues around immigration and, you know, don't let these people in and those people, like,
Right.
if we can just work on that part of the human condition that sees other, then all of it will be full circle and everybody gets taken care of.
So many lessons. Oh my God, my head is
Yeah, it's
exploding.
I know. Well, and I actually just heard someone say about when people say I don't see color, and someone said, no, you should see color. You should see diversity. Like, that's what this
Right.
world is about. And I never thought about it that way, but
Right.
yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
it is about, that's why I love living here. What you're saying about the subway, I sit on that subway sometimes and I'm like hearing all these different languages. I grew up in Ohio. I
Right.
mean, I grew up where it was like
White.
well, no,
And Dave Chappelle. And LeBron.
yes, LeBron.
Did you know, real quick, before we play our game, did you know a lot of actors from the Slam, the working actor slams that we did, are really doing it? One guy's on Hawaii Five-0.
Well, yeah.
I forgot her name, but Andrea was on the whole first 2 seasons of The Deuce, and a couple of other actors.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
was-
know that.
Oh my
Damn
God!
it, Josh,
Remember
why
Andrea
are you
did the
not on
Joker?
this?
Yeah.
She did the Joker monologue when she recreated that night. She was on the whole first season of The
We
Deuce.
take all the credit for that.
Well, you should.
Well, one of my
because it
favorites
was
is
awesome.
Nafisa Williams, who's on
Yeah.
Black Lightning. So we did the show one day, and we were having some technical difficulties, and I said, anybody in the audience, you know, has a monologue. She had come up
Yeah.
from Philly with her friend. She was just a guest. She jumped on stage, did a monologue. We've done 2 projects together.
Have you really?
Yeah, since
Awesome.
then, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's like my little
Coincidentally or because of that?
sister. No,
But like,
No
can I tell you how many
coincidence.
things?
It's all connected.
There's so many
It's not
events and
random.
projects and shows and clubs and everyone doing these things, and just to be a part of that whole production and see other people just like kind of grow and go on
Like
to
you,
these
man, you got to
things, I
put. You
felt
didn't
great.
have this podcast when you
No,
did it.
but you know, it just other things. Life happens, but it's just
And-
great to have. set
And
out
you're
as
a
part of it.
dad.
You're a dad.
Yeah, that's still my
the
greatest role. Trust me.
exactly,
Yes.
man.
I spend all day with my kids, and I love it. I fucking love it. So let's play our game. You
Yes,
wanna play
go
our
ahead.
game?
Yes.
Okay, so we call this game Roles of a Lifetime.
Okay.
Right, for you. So I'm going to throw some quick answers.
All
You don't overthink it. But
that. We've
there it is.
got
and everyone wave to the
54
camera
minutes of see?
delicious.
Of amazing
This is
coverage.
good, man.
This is what a
good.
writer in Hollywood looks like, guys. right
right.
here in a hoodie.
That's right.
Okay, you
There
ready?
You go. Yeah.
Roles of a Lifetime. Any historical figure that you would love to play, or
Man, there's so many. I keep discovering them as I go along.
dead, alive, it doesn't matter.
Paul Robeson. I mean, you guys know who
No.
he is.
I know I should.
You don't?
And I'm
I should.
really bad.
This is called White Privilege,
I
ladies
knew
and
it.
gentlemen.
Oh.
Here we go.
Paul Robeson. Wow. See, and this is it's not your fault.
No, it's the history books.
It's not your fault because this is why we have to tell our stories.
I know the name.
Paul Robeson was a Rhodes Scholar. He was I don't know if he was valedictorian of Princeton, but he was a track star. He was a football star. He was an opera singer. He spoke Russian. He lived in Russia.
Wow.
He was the lead in Porgy and Bess on Broadway. Paul Robeson is the man who said he's one of my heroes. And don't feel bad because I spoke at Paul Robeson high school recently in the Bronx, and the teachers didn't even really know his history, and the kids had no idea who he was. And there was a photo of him
What?
on the wall of the auditorium. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
But
Yeesh.
Wow.
but he's the one who said artists are the gatekeepers of truth. So he's a hero.
Okay.
All right, I'll do the next one. Since you said you're not really into the Avengers, the original question is which Avenger would you like to play, or
really
another superhero that you'd like to play?
Well, back in the day, I thought I would be Luke Cage, Power Man.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Um,
You could still do it technically because they're bringing the property back to Disney, so they're probably not gonna
You're
take
in
them
with
again.
Disney now.
all I have to do is dye this, and I'd look younger.
You
again.
could do it.
And,
You could do it.
Who? Yeah, I'd go with Luke Cage. Wonder Woman? Is that okay?
Yeah, do it.
No,
wanna be
I'm
Wonder
gonna be
Woman.
Wonder
Do
Woman.
the next question too, Brianna.
Oh, okay. Can you do impressions or any cartoon voices?
Because you're great with the accents. So
I don't do any cartoon voices.
what about
sorry.
impressions? Can you do any impressions
Of people?
Yeah. Brianna, do Brianna.
You already did.
Do
No.
Brianna. No, any others
No,
that you do
not
at
people
parties
you
or
would
anything?
know. No. Sorry.
Nothing like that.
I wish I was good at that. I could be if I applied myself to it, though.
All right. Which accent are you the best at?
Oh,
would
that's
you
good.
say?
Yeah, do that.
Oh, man. There's so many. But, like, I'm going to give you her, like, Suzanne. Like, I was, like, walking down the street, right? And, like, she was looking at me. I was like, why are you looking at me like that for? Like, because, like, it's always like, like, you could like or you could not like. Like, I don't like you. Like, so if I don't like you, then that's it.
Dude, like, let me tell you something, right?
See, like, he tried it, but, like, it wasn't, like, really auténtico, porque la gente dice auténtico, tú sabes, okay? So, like,
I take it that was when you heard on the subway a lot.
or just walking down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's an old black man, by the way. That accent, yeah.
I'm going to ask that.
For those that don't know, that's a typical, like, New York, like, Puerto Rican. It could be a woman, it could be a gay person, it could be... Like, he told me that, like, it's actually, like, a character that I do. Okay, like, it's a full circle story. Like, so this is one of the characters. I do these two characters. Like, well, I just want to tell these people what the fuck is going on. Okay, Octavia, Miss Octavia, and Shanifa. Two characters. But, like, why you, like, blowing up my spot? So, girl, you better stay your ass over there. All these people. So
Are both of these ladies in your show?
This booth got really crowded.
They are. And the reason they're in my show, because that's like certain nods I give to certain like communities, and they represent people that I knew,
That's it.
growing up in New York that had a hard time out there. Some working on the streets of New York, street workers, sex workers.
Gotcha.
And just finding, like, giving them life and helping people see them,
Like Uncle Dominic all day long, I got to tell you a little story. Last time I look at you, Brianna, let me ask you something. You got a husband named Brian. I know that guy. Guy's a freaking ball buster. The guy owes me like $1,500.
Give me your best. Give me your best
so
Jewish accent. Come on.
So, Gladys Rosenberg. Hello, my name is Gladys Rosenberg. I'm a geriatric Pelvian instructor. Part-time therapist. That's my Gladys.
He is funny.
He is
He's
funny.
super
He's
funny.
very
Listen,
funny.
Gladys Malik.
Look,
Malik.
Gladys. Her name is on the wall. Where is it over there? Oh, Gladys.
Gladys,
Oh my God.
All
All right. So, how about this? If you could do any show on Broadway, that's either already a Broadway show or your own
Harlem to
thing,
Hollywood.
you would do it. Do you think? Is there a
I
chance?
am going. No.
Are you pushing for it? There's always a chance. I know. I'm touching him.
Did you hear?
There's always a
did-
chance.
did
I know.
You, hear
You
what
believe
just
it.
said to
I know.
me?
There's no doubt.
You said,
Is there?
"Is there a chance?"
I mean,
And
are we
am I pushing
going? Are we
for it?
going there? Or where are we going?
It's absolutely going to Broadway.
Cannot wait for that.
Let me help you. So when I first started writing the show, I said it must be at the Apollo. That's where it has to start because it's Harlem to Hollywood. We did the Apollo and sold out in February. I'm doing it again. So that's another example of seeing something, intending it, not letting it go. The one thing I didn't see coming that is happening is the New York Historical Society, which has a beautiful 420-seat theater in it and a huge wall for projection. If you haven't gone there and seen this film, The Story of New York, and there's another one called, I think When We Rise or something about women's history in New York, in the country. Beautiful films that theater was built for that first film. So it'll be in a museum. It'll tour. It'll be on Broadway for a limited run, and it'll be a TV special somewhere. That's the intention. Now just watch.
A Netflix special so I can watch it.
Been talking to Netflix, but also have a platform, OTT, over-the-top platform, where I could actually distribute it myself, which I'm funding this myself as well, which is a choice. It's like that, taking a page out of my other entrepreneurial, like my music life and,
Right.
the hip hop world of, even though I wasn't a hip hop artist, I was a closet hip hop artist, but
Josh is too.
yeah, but doing
has
it
my
for
album.
self,
What are you
you know,
talking about?
doing it, distributing it. I mean, it could be Netflix, but I wanna be able to maximize the reach and the upside for myself. So
Sure.
wherever that ends up, yeah.
Middle ground with that. All right, this is meant to be comedic, but so I've had 2 roles on TV. One, I played a speed
I
dater.
thought it was 4.
It was
He
2.
has 4 moments.
4 moments. 2, I
Difference.
played a speed dater with Bridget Moynihan on Blue Bloods, which you were on,
Mhm.
and I was playing a skeevy skeevy front desk worker at a sex hotel in the 70s on The Deuce. If you could play one of those 2 roles, which would you play?
And how would you voice the character?
Yeah, skeevy sex
Wow.
worker, or skeevy hotel clerk, or speed dater with Bridget. Nerdy speedy.
Would you like a room? Would you like a room?
That's pretty much how he sounded.
Now they
I should-
hourly or nightly.
The interesting fact is they killed his character.
They killed it.
Well, we have that in common. I've been knocked off on quite a few shows. Didn't happen forever. It started in 2008 on CSI Miami, where my character killed himself, which was bizarre. If you've ever had to kill yourself, and this character had to hang himself, it was bizarre to just as an actor to go there. It was crazy. It was one of the craziest experiences because they put you on a harness, and my character was supposed to kill himself using bed sheets and tied him to the bar in the cell, and he ties his hands up and slides down into it, and literally the character that I was embodying in that moment decided he didn't want to kill himself in the middle of killing himself. But that was just one of those pure, in the moment, instinctive gut reactions to what's happening, not the actor, the character. That was bizarre because you're sliding into it, and then the thought of you can't return.
Right.
And then how you try to fight that. And that was something that just came out in a moment. And those are the moments you live for, though, as an actor, where it's not planned. You didn't know that you would have that
You really
reaction. And then I was like, oh, shit. Like, that was nuts. That show, actually, I had to kill a woman and kill myself.
Just
in the
another Monday.
It was a Friday.
Oh, just another Friday.
It was a Friday. And I've always said there's 2 things I will never do. Never harm women or children, even as an actor, because, especially as an actor, because you have to go there, right? And the thing I didn't know was the woman, there was a co-star. I was playing a cop that was mimicking these murders, and there was a woman that was on the list of a potential murderer, so I was trying to mimic the crime using this woman, and he inadvertently kills her. Yeah. So I worked with this woman for an entire week, and then I show up on Friday, and like, oh, this is the day you have to kill her. And they had her laying out on a bench in a shed, and because I developed a relationship with her as well, I felt a way. I said to the director, I was like, you know what? I didn't realize this was going to happen today. I knew she had to die, but I didn't picture how it happened.
Right.
And I was like, I need a moment. And we were just about to rehearse the scene.
Right.
And I went off to the side, and I just fucking lost it. Like, wow. He comes like, you okay? I was like, I have 1 take. That's all I can give you. Yeah. Because this here is just against my constitution. Mm-hmm. And
you got it?
Not in 1 take. I had to do maybe 2 or 3 or something like that because we didn't quite get it right. But that was on that. And then I had to kill myself later that day.
Wow. Yikes.
So I think I slept all the way till Sunday.
That's the therapy session in the making.
It was crazy.
That's just like in Game of Thrones, some of the rape scenes with Sansa and
I kind of blocked that out because it was
too intense. They were really
yeah.
hard to watch. I can't imagine.
As an actor, I just have no desire to do that.
No, the children especially. Like I could never.
No.
Oh dear God.
Would you ever do a fantasy like type movie like that, like or a show? Or,
Yeah. I'll do any. I mean, as long as violence sometimes if it's justified and you have to do it,
Right.
But just like, nah, I'm not interested. Let somebody else do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I
Thank you.
feel
You guys
like
took a lot of my fucking time.
Oh my God! But it's been so amazing.
You got a
Come
bottle of
on.
water a full
Yes,
bottle
come on.
of Poland
We give
Spring.
our guests
Actually, you
the
guys handed
best.
me this water. It was already half consumed.
No, it
No,
was
it wasn't. I
not.
gave you
This
a
is
new bottle.
lie.
Yes.
This is a lie. Anyway, listen, we just want to thank all of our listeners out there. We have some specific people we want to thank for some reviews. But hey, if you could do us a favor, we hope you enjoyed the show today and all of our shows. Give us a like, a subscribe, a share with your friends, a review, because it really does help us out and get the word out there to the masses.
Yes. Corp Schmuck, Club Euphoria, Nikki the C in Texas 0816. Thank you for your reviews. And as Josh said, please, if you listen, give us a review. Follow us on social.
Oh, what's your socials? Give your.
You don't know my social?
I mean, I
You don't
often
follow me?
Oh my God! Of course I follow you.
What's-
How would I
what's
know
my
what you're
social
doing
then?
otherwise, other than
What's my social?
following you home on the subway every
You do
night?
that. First of all, we know he's lying because I don't take the subway. You know how I get around New York? My
How?
favorite way to get around New York. right now.
Bicycle.
Yeah.
It used to be bicycle.
Oh,
You know what it is now?
Skateboard.
Electric scooter.
I was
get
close.
out of here! You electric scootered
I
over
have
here?
2 of them. I almost did it today. I would have done it today.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, we're at Jobs Blow
That was
Podcast.
that was a good position right there, probably.
Jobs
where you
Blow
were.
Podcast, jobsblowpodcast.com. LA, we love you. Thank you so much for
Why are you
facilitating
why are you guys
this.
posing? We're just taking. We're just
Yeah,
talking.
taking pic.
You guys are
All right.
posers,
What's your
man.
social?
Just my name
Malik
with the
Yoba.
blue checks.
Oh, well, you got the
And
blue
if you're
check.
one of those people that think they need to screenshot the one without a blue check,
To do for what?
You're getting
they're
really...
like roaches, right? The fake accounts.
Oh
They
yeah.
keep popping up, and so they pop up. So you spend this time, you get your blue little check to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're validated,
Right.
and then people see a fake account with like 8 posts and like
Right.
3 followers, and they take a screenshot and go, "Did you start a new account?" But it's all the pictures from my. That's more annoying than the people that start the
They just
account.
wanna talk
You know,
to you.
someone
But it's
started
like
a
my
fake
friend-
account
I'm
about
like,
me.
I'm
I have a
just-
fake account
yeah.
out there. Someone has a one picture.
Wow.
I'm like, why do you? No, man.
You
it's
are a
not.
superstar.
Yeah. Yo, you're the man.
Superstar.
I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do.
It
The
was
words,
so nice to
the
meet you.
inspiration.
You as well.
Any ounce of doubt is
1 ounce of doubt and you're out.
You're out.
That's Josh's new tag.
My tags are at Mr. Josh Hyman, MrJoshHyman.com. Whoa.
Say it again.
MrJoshHyman.com.
I think he
1
wants you to
ounce of doubt,
that one.
and you're out.
We're out.
Say, what do you have
We're
to say?
out.
What do you got? What do you got for us?
You're gonna tell us your. You're gonna tell us your.
Brie Haas 1 at Instagram.
Whoa, we
All
got
right,
it. It
now
only
we
took
have it.
15 episodes. We
Okay.
got
Woo.
it. Brianna's
Malik got it out of me.
won. Malik
Loved it,
got it
loved it.
out.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Thanks, Malik. Peace.
I'm too fly for my suit and tie, and I'd rather die than work 9 to 5. And I'm too fly for my suit and tie, and I'd rather die than work 9 to 5. And that's why I don't wanna go to work. I just wanna chill and play all day. Look 'em dead in the face and say, I wish I could just be still asleep while you work.